The Union of Five Crowns. So, Beat Saber music made this fun alternate history scenario. The original point of divergence is the 1443 to 1444 Crusade of Varna, where the Crusader armies led by the Polish king succeed in defeating the Ottomans, resulting in Hungary remaining under union with Poland, alongside the Lithuanians already being in union with Poland via their shared common enemy of the Teutonic Knights. Thanks to Poland's strengthened position with the addition of Hungary, it would proceed to succeed in holding off the Muscovite expansion westwards to a greater degree, most importantly retaining Smolensk, though at the same time the Ukrainian lands were transferred to the Polish kingdom, while the Teutons were subjugated, surviving only as autonomous vassals of Prussia and Kurland Samogitia. North of the Baltic, the Swedish kingdom would free itself of Danish overlordship, and following the squabble between the two heirs of Gustav Vasa, the Swedish king's son, Sigismund III, Vasa first gained the thrones of the Kingdom of Poland and its personal unions in 1587. The death of his father King John III of Sweden would see him inherit also the Swedish crown in 1592. While Sigismund would confirm the loyalty of his new possession before heading back to Poland, his departure would see the Swedish kingdom embroiled in a quagmire of civil war, peasant rebellion, and a so-called Second War of Independence over a Catholic Pole ruling over Protestant Sweden. So you see, divisions between the courts of Sweden and Poland would see the Swedish nobility conspire a rebellion against Sigismund. At the same time, between 1596 and 1597, a peasant uprising in Finland against the Finnish Duke Claus Flemings and his troops' conduct regarding supplies took place, which by the way, became known as the Cudgel War. Following growing discontent in Stockholm, the Swedish kingdom would, well, erupt into rebellion against Sigismund III under Duke-turned-Regent Charles IX, while the Duke of Finland actually remained loyal to Sigismund, and thus this split apart the Swedish kingdom in 1598. So, after a Swedish campaign into Abo Castle in Finland where they managed to seize it, the fall of Kalmar to Sigismund's army would force the Swedish regent to return for the defense of the capital. A series of battles in southern Sweden saw the Swedish suffer, well, continuous defeats against Sigismund's forces. What would really shatter the Swedish hope for victory came with the fall of Stockholm in August 1598, and then the decimation of the Swedish fleet in a violent storm. This was followed up on September 18, 1598 by the Battle of Stegaborg, where Sigismund's outnumbered army, honestly, just slaughtered Erik's forces. While the remnants of the Swedish regent's troops continued to hold out in western Sweden, and the last of the Swedish fleets harassed the Polish supply lines, he would make his final stand in Göteborg on November 2nd. There, the remaining Swedish forces loyal to the regent were defeated by Sigismund, bringing the rebellious Swedish crown firmly under his rule. As a reward for Finnish loyalty, and also to weaken Sweden, the Finnish duchy was broken off into the Finnish kingdom under union with Poland, owing to the duchy's historical ties with Sigismund and his father John III. The subsequent century would see the Union of Five Crowns really prosper. It would wage war with the Danes for Skåne, given its importance to Baltic trade and securing access to the North Sea. It would also wage war with the Muscovites in the east, conquering the whole of the eastern Baltic under the Lithuanian and Finnish crowns, which in turn limited Muscovy to remain an isolated realm in the frigid east. However, its support for the Hungarian crown's ambitions in the Balkans proved pretty disastrous, as Poland's ability to support Hungary's southern ambitions was limited, not only due to distance, but also because of the rivals that surrounded the Union. The Habsburgs, who were in charge of the Holy Roman Empire in Iberia, never gave up their ambition for Hungary, despite the success of the Varna Crusade in retaining Hungary under Poland. The Muscovites constantly raided the eastern frontier, stretching from the Arctic to the wild fields, proclaiming themselves as the rightful heirs of the lands of the Kievan Rus, while waiting for a moment of Polish weakness. Even the Danes found themselves opposed to the Union over Swedish territory, with the ability to blockade the Danish straits with a superior fleet, and the Crimean Tatars sought to raid beyond the wild fields. Only the isolated French found alliance with the Five Crown Union, mainly over the shared rivalry with the Habsburgs. Even though the Union of Five Crowns is surrounded on all sides by rivals, its biggest weakness honestly lies among the Union's crowns themselves.